Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for Friday, November 25th, 2016, day after Thanksgiving. I hope you guys did okay on football yesterday. I made up for my cash loss on the day before. I posted this line quickly. Yeah, I had Westbrook and he looked solid towards the end, and I had Kevin Love, so it looked promising, but the Laker value didn't really hold out. It was only Clarkson that did decent because it looks like Nick Young got injured, so that's why he only had 10 points and he got pulled. So, injuries will happen. You will lose occasionally, and yesterday or the 2 days ago felt like a play light day anyways, and I did mention that in the video. If I'm telling you guys to play light, I'm not really doing it for my health. I'm telling you there's a lot of different things that can open up on the slate. It's usually the big ones. I mean, as much as we see a lot of different ways to play it, generally, unless there's screaming value, you kind of want to hit those ones just a little bit lighter than usual. It just makes sense. The perfect slate for me tends to be around like 6 to 8 games. When you get to 10 plus, there's a lot of different things that can happen. That means being sharp is smart. And if you have like less than 4, it gets chalky. So there's like a good middle area. Yeah, there's my football score. It was all right. All right, let's move into upcoming. Now, this is for a cash contest for today, guys, and I'm going to say this over and over again. You need to play these lines cash only. If you play this in a GPP of any kind, I would do maybe a quintuple or maybe a triple. These lines are not meant for GPPs. You're going to need 400 to win a GPP today, guys. So if you're not thinking about how you can hit 400, 420 points when you're building your lineup, you don't have a chance. Now, this lineup is built for 300 for cash. And I'll go through it again, and I'll go through the positions for tournament choices. But the reason why this is a cash lineup, look at the start. We have Russell Westbrook. Now, he's in a decent position against Denver. I actually think it's a positive matchup for him. And a guy that normally puts up 55, 60 fantasy points gets a positive matchup, well, then you're looking more like a 60, 65 day. And to me, you just have to start paying the $11,800 for Westbrook and move on for a cash game. Now, if you're going to talk to me about a tournament, there's 100 different ways you guys can go. There's Tim Frazier right in the middle I was thinking about that had a kind of crappy game, but would put up 2 baller games right before that. Let's see here. Excuse me. We got Wall against Orlando. That's a tournament option. Chris Paul is getting pricey. I don't like him today against Detroit at that price. I like Steph Curry at that price at 91. That's not bad against the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are just the same as they were last year, basically. They give up points. And did you guys see the other game? The Golden State would put up almost 150 points. It was unreal. Granted, the Lakers got just completely blown out, and you have to watch for something like that, because if it's another blowout, you don't really need Lakers on your roster. But as you can see for this cash game, I have them. And my cash game is built more around, obviously, minutes and, opportunity for shots. There's nothing else I'm thinking of when I'm building this. I'm trying to find the very most that I can on a points per dollar basis. It's safe. That's the element of a cash lineup. The GPP lineup is when you guys all figure out, there's an injury for this guy and an injury for that guy. I'm going to put these cheap guys in, and then on top of that cheap guys, I'm going to put this and this because I like these guys and I think they're going to have like 50-point days. And say you think Kemba Walker down there is just going to go crazy against the Knicks tonight. He's going to put up 57 fantasy points. Well, if he does, and you've locked him in, you're pretty solid going in the rest of the way, aren't you? Because you've paid, instead of paying $11,800 for Westbrook, so I'm getting a solid 60 points, but I'm paying for it. You paid for Walker instead, and if he gave you that 55, 60 points that we're expecting for, what is that, about $4,000 less, you've got a lot of lineup to work with. By the way, Walker is a tournament choice today, as well as Lowry against Milwaukee, sure. Lillard against Davis, and today is going to be a fun tournament day for the tournament players. There are a lot of different ways and options you can run with. Mike Conley is going to be forced to pick up some extra load today with Dragic basically, not so much extra load. Maybe he has a little more opportunity, and maybe Memphis is forced to play a touch faster than they like. I don't know. I'm looking at the Memphis players and I'm looking at the Miami players today. Dragic being out, if that comes to fruition, makes me think that Richardson becomes like a solid cash play to a must play. If you get the news that Dragic's going to sit before lineup block. So we'll be following that because that's an easy play. We already know D'Angelo Russell is out for the Lakers. There's not much you guys can do on that. It's already done. Let's see here. Wow. I mean, it's just loaded at the point guard position. Tim Frazier, really like that price. It's $5,400. Rajon Rondo again against the Sixers. I mean, some themes don't get old. We beat up on the Sixers, we beat up on the Lakers, and as long as you have bad interior defenses and you let teams score, then we're going to continue to do it. That's the fantasy game. Oh, down cheap when we got options. I wouldn't be looking at Isaiah Canaan. You don't have a need to. Not with Jimmy Butler. He's going to see his normal minute run, guys. You can look at Harrison, who picked up a ton of minutes in his last game, a bit more than usual. That's what I was saying, a couple of the Memphis players. You can look at Gibson again for Dallas. He's had a couple lower nights now, and so he might pick up again because he flashed a huge upside, and Dallas is still there. So you can see it right there. Darren Harris is out. So, and there's one down cheap, too. Who else is there? Oh, Calderon for the Lakers, that's right. You can take Calderon today because you can see he got some minute run. Uh, 23 and 20 minutes out of nowhere, basically. And decent performances at the $3,500 price. I mean, you're getting 5 to 6 times value out of it. I don't think he's a huge upside guy. I just don't. But he'll probably get you your 5 or 6. Jared Bayless is getting the start again tonight, and so if he gets the start again, that's another very cheap option, so, because perfect, right? I don't expect him to repeat that tonight, actually, Bayless. I think he'll be a little bit lower, but that's the fantasy game. I took Jamal Murray today with Denver. Will Barton is going to be out, and Gallinari is still out. So I'm going to parlay both of those absences since he picked up like 35 minutes in the last game. And see, there's so many different values you guys can take. The question is, which one do you take? So, and that's where it's going to be very hard to win today in terms of the actual tournament itself. I'll be playing cash today, primarily. Lou Williams for the Lakers and Jordan Clarkson, both. I mean, it's almost like which one do you pick? You could take them both if you have the money instead of Richardson there. Especially if the news that Dragic is going to come in, that's an easy drop in for Clarkson and just, save the extra money somewhere else real fast. Not a problem here. I would tell you to do it with my blessing. Gave you another couple cheap values instead of Murray at the point guard you could play with. It wouldn't be an issue. Watch the Richardson news, actually, now that I think about it, because it's such a tight slate today, guys. I mean, if you don't get it, you can roll it. You can see he's getting minutes. Justice Winslow is still out too. But, if Dragic is out, it's much nicer. I mean, because look at that. He had 34, 32, 38, 29, and it's just trying to drop to 20. And so if Dragic is out, it'll come back. And we know that. But if it doesn't, if he could see just another 20 again today because it's just business as usual. That was with Winslow out before. So, and you don't want to be paying for 12 or 4,000 for 10, 12 points. That's just, you're going to cry. So while I have him in cash for now, be warned, I might change him because I'm going to be looking for that Miami news. I'm very likely to get an 8 o'clock game news in time for lock. Anything after that, I'm not. But they pretty much let us know about an hour before, maybe a little bit more than an hour before. So, it starts to break on Basketball Monster and, hit my Twitter, I would say an hour and 15 minutes to 2 hours before the games start. So I would see notifications right now, actually. They'd start popping in. We got Durant, James, both decent options. James put up a huge line in his last game 2 days ago. It was like 65 fantasy points or something. Durant didn't play. See, they got up by so much they didn't need to really clock. I mean, they were clocking the Lakers, but they were doing it with their bench. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Durant didn't pay as well, and I think the same kind of thing could happen again. I'd be watching blowout risk. I think if you're paying up at small forward and you're looking at Butler and he's got that great spot against that horrible Sixers D, then just pay up and be happy. Run with it. You can go down for tournament. Look at Rudy Gay. Look at Wiggins. Everyone remembers Otto Porter's 68-point game, but I just don't think he can repeat it. But I mean, he is averaging like the 30-32 that you need for a 5 times value. If your money works and you could stick it in Porter, no problem. If it happens where you kind of land out, you know what I mean? Because you see there isn't much around there. You got Harrison Barnes, but he's playing for Dallas against Cleveland, and then those two guys are out, so you have to drop to like 5, and now you're getting into the cheaper guys. Essentially, quote unquote, less minutes, but not necessarily. Sometimes they're just mispriced. There are going to be a couple values all across the board today with some of these things. I always like looking at Robertson, especially in a fast, high-scoring game against Denver. That's fine with me. That'd be a $4,000 choice. Any Laker today is a consideration for out of the shot in the dark. Go with Luol Deng isn't a problem, but I would prefer Johnson, getting the news that Dragic would be sitting, but 35 minutes. He probably picked up more of the time than Richard, you know what I mean, instead. So, and I'm trying to point out all these plays that are going to be on the board for you guys to look at, obviously. So, let's see. I don't see much in there. You can go, Bobby, you can get Ingram. Ingram today, with how many minutes and stuff are missing from the Lakers in general, that's not a problem at minimum. You can do that too. I took Wilson Chandler again. I've just got taken advantage of that whole Will Barton Denver news, and so as long as they got 2 key absences there, Wilson Chandler to the bank for me. He's gonna be forced into more of a scoring role. I had the money to pay up for Anthony Davis. If you don't have the money to pay up, Griffin against Detroit, probably going to get a couple extra boards. Probably worth the price today. Anybody against the Lakers, but I don't like the blowout risk. Kevin Love isn't in a position to do what he did before, guys, against Dallas, because Dallas is so slow. So Porzingis I like on any given night at this point, the way he's been playing, guys. Porzingis can drop a 40 spot almost any night of the week. Thing is, he puts up 30s every once in a while, so it's not so good for cash, but for a tournament, you can definitely be pulling Porzingis. Zebo out. Now this is going to be interesting, guys, at Memphis, because he's the new 6th man there, and they let the other guy come in. But the problem is, I don't know if... See, I almost think Jarrell Martin might get more of these minutes because Zebo comes in off the bench, so he would just kind of fill into Zebo's role, and because the starters plays a little bit less time than you would expect. Let's see here. No, got some sniffles. Okay. Man, I don't see any. This is a long list, guys. Spigot's had an incredible game on his last run. If you think he's in line for anything near that again, but he does it with not a lot of minutes, guys. That's the thing. So he's just happened to hit his shots. That's all that comes down to. If he hadn't hit his shots, that 37 would be 17 points. It'd be based on the defense, on the rebounding and the assists. So take it for what it's worth, though. I mean, 37 points on a $3,500 salary. That was your 10 times value on the day before Thanksgiving, no question. Scrolling up, I was looking for. There's Jarrell Martin. See, and the reason why I don't like to take him here is you can see he doesn't get minutes, guys, 2 or whatever, but he doesn't really have any kind of fantasy scoring when he has gotten minutes. There's 17 and 19, and there's 15 points and 8 points. And that's against a Denver team and a Milwaukee team. So, 17 against New Orleans with 17 minutes. He's a 1 point per minute fantasy guy at the tops, and sometimes he doesn't. 19 minutes, only 8 points. And now, it's going to be interesting, because if he did get 25, 26 minutes today, then that's a potential to run for 25, 26 fantasy points, maybe even 30. So Jarrell Martin's in play, but I don't know if he's the best value today. I'll leave that at that. And don't know if I've found anything else there, really. Maybe Booker at the low end against the Pacers. That's certainly a possibility. Thad Young could go crazy in like a rivalry game against his old team. I don't know. There are quite a few choices just all across the board, guys. Nance, just picking a Laker player that is going to get some extra minute run today. So I mentioned that in the upper high. I just took 2 Lakers, and I'm picking that they'll be the ones. Today's not a day to stack the Lakers, guys. After they got destroyed like that, you can't stack the Lakers. If you're going to take Lakers today, they need to be cheap, and they need to have a lot of minutes. And it's going to be a fast, high-scoring game. They put up 250 in their last one, or 260, so there will be points scored. Let's see here. And it's your center today, Rolo, guys. Against the Sixers, too, I just love it under 5,000. It was almost like an anchor for the lineup. Now, you can spend up because we got everyone on the board. Whiteside after a stinker, but he's against the Memphis opponent, so no, I wouldn't. Towns against Phoenix, you have to love that. They play fast, and it's Towns. You gotta love that one. It's like your high price stud. Almost more so than Cousins, because yeah, the beard ain't gonna, and he's like the center of the Houston Rockets team, but none of them are really known for their defense in Houston. So, you can see Cousins putting up a 60 spot too, but that's a little less than 6 times value, whereas Towns has that 60-point upside just of his own, which is like a 7 times. Remember, I told you guys, think about for a GPP, getting to 7 times value, which is an insane number, but you almost have to think that. Drummond with the Clips, against the Clips, no. Brook Lopez against the Pacers, possibly as a surprise, but I think you're paying too much. DeAndre Jordan could get some extra boards against Detroit, but I don't think he'll pay much above value. Embiid being out, you guys could look to Okafor before, but honestly, he doesn't do enough with the minutes. I think it just hurts Philly more than anything, because he was kind of on a restriction anyway. He's only been playing 24 minutes, so 24 minutes doesn't really take a lot out of the team. And then you're down to the 4,900 level. You got Adams, who will play good against a fast-paced team, but you're looking at 25 fantasy points probably. Thompson's playing a slow Dallas team. Nurkic's playing a faster-paced game, but again, we're still talking Nurkic, and I would take Rolo, no question. We don't even know if Tyson Chandler will get minutes. He is back finally. Right after his mom passes and he's gone for 10 games, then Zebo loses his mom, and he's probably going to be gone for another 10 games. And we forget, it's not just that their mom passed away. They have to plan the funeral and all that other stuff, so it explains like a 2-week absence for these guys. Marishi's gone back to the bench. I don't see anything at the super, super cheap end, to be quite honest, guys. And it doesn't mean that something isn't there. It's not something that's very obvious to me that it spots out like, oh, this guy's going to get a ton of extra run today. So, that's pretty much it. Okay, so those are all your GPP choices for today. Let me go ahead and cancel out of that real fast and take us back to today's cash game lineup. And I did tell you guys, remember to watch the Miami news and be ready to make a modification on this. Okay, at your point guard, Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray. At your shot guard, Lou Williams and Josh Richardson. At your small forward, Jimmy Butler and Wilson Chandler. At your power forward, Anthony Davis and Larry Nance Jr. And for your center to take, Rolo Mr. Lopez. Okay, that's Fantasy Forecast for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It helps support this free channel. I show the results every day. I try to post lineups every day. If I'm not posting a video, guys, or it doesn't come up, I didn't see a value. If you guys don't see a value, something on YouTube, like, right before the lineups lock, and you're really depending on my lineups, cancel your entries. You can do it up to 15 minutes before the lineups lock, you know what I mean? And there's no shame in not playing a day. If I'm not posting a video, I can guarantee you guys I'm playing it very, very light or not at all, because I don't see much value out there. All right, and that's about it. That's all I can tell you guys for today. It's a normal day. You can play an okay amount. I would go just a little lighter because it's a huge slate day, but you don't have to be abnormally light or anything like that. But I wouldn't go heavy. There's no need, and it seems like a cash day to me, guys. I'd have a 1 lineup in cash. I'd run that almost across the board, and I'd be ready to change your lineups on the last second all at once. I wouldn't have multiples today. Just makes it easier. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching Fantasy Forecast. Again, please subscribe. Watch an ad occasionally. That's the only way I make money to keep doing these videos for you guys. So I appreciate it if you guys watch the ads. I know that sucks, but makes it so that I can keep doing videos for you guys and going out there and go win some big money today.